definition of success, a person who is climbing the mountain and taking steps towards it. So welcome everyone as you join with us today. I'm going to ask you a kind of an operational question here before we get really rolling. I want you to tell me in chat. So you'll go to the chat at the bottom of your screen on Zoom. When you see chat, click on that little bubble there. And I want you to tell me what would be the ideal time. If Thursday was our day, every Thursday, what would be the most ideal time for you? Don't worry about whether I can get there or not, or don't worry about anybody else. I want you to tell me what is the ideal time for us to have our Successful People call. At this point, I've scheduled them at 3 p.m. at my time, which is Mountain Time, at 3 p.m. For you, those of you who are on the West Coast, in Pacific Time, it's 2 p.m. for you. Those of you on East Coast, it's 5 p.m. No, 4 p.m. No, 5 p.m. So I want you to put in the chat, tell me what would be the best optimum time, if you didn't have to worry about anybody else, what would be your most optimum time? And it might be this, and if it is this, then say, say this time is perfect for me. If not, tell me what other time on this day, if Thursday was the day, when would you like to schedule a time so you could block it out on your calendar and be there every single week? At least we're kind of having a kind of a resurgence of the COVID-19. So we're going to continue our calls until that's behind us. So go into the chat and tell me. Okay, so Nikki says this time is perfect, or good. Well, I guess it's perfect because you're here, right? Possible if it would be a little bit earlier. I'd like everybody to kind of vote on that. I'll look at the chat when we're done and I'll make an announcement if we're going to change it. It works for me, but I want you to let me know if it works for you. Thank you, Kevin, Ali, Ephraim. Very good. Four maps. We're going to review one of the maps today for a very specific reason. Those of you who have a copy of the Four Maps book, you'll recognize map number 2 is called the Anticipation Map. And we're going to kind of review it again today, maybe go a little bit deeper on it. If you don't have a copy of the Four Maps book, then you can always, I'll put a copy of it here in the chat and you can download it from there. So let me do that right now. I think I can do it. It doesn't look like it's going to let me do it, so I'm going to try it, see if it'll work. We had a glitch in our Zoom calls the other day, and the call ended in 40 minutes, not at the normal time. I usually go on for about an hour. And therefore, today is a little glitchy. You've got a different link to join with us. You would have seen it in your email. I like the link we were using before, which is Successful People. And once we get our little link, our little challenge solved, we'll probably go back to that link. Okay. If you want a copy of the Four Maps book and you don't have it, then email me at connect@robertallen.com, okay? I'll type that in here for everybody. And I'll have my staff send you a copy of it because we're going to be using it a lot. There we go. Connect@robertallen.com. So do you remember the Four Maps? If you've read the book, then it will be familiar to you. Starts off with the smiley faces and the frowny faces, right? Every map starts off the same way. It's where you are today, whatever's going on in your life today. Today's date is the day we do that map. So I want all of you to draw this map along with me. And so that you kind of learn the system, learn how to do it without having to think about it any longer. You think about the second map. The first map is called the clarity map. And that means, what do you want? When do you want it? Where do you want it? How much of it do you want? Who do you want it with? Why do you want it? And how are you going to get it? 7 specific questions about your future self. And when we focus you on your future self, does that take you away from today? In other words, you're supposed to live in the now, aren't you? If you live in the now, then why are you thinking about your future? Because your brain is designed to predict. It's designed to predict the future. And therefore, when you give it hints about the kind of future you want, by asking those 7 specific questions, then your brain gets more clear and it starts to notice the solutions that would take you to that end result. That's map number 1. We won't go into that anymore today. But map number 2 is a left brain map. Map number 1 is a right brain map. It's about dreaming. It's about envisioning. It's about wanting and what you want. It's about tapping into the desire of what you really want with your life. Like Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich, he said, you need a burning desire. It's burning desire with a purpose. Those 2 keys are really essential for you to think and grow rich. And when he means think, he means in the Think and Grow Rich book, thinking of what you want and then making it your purpose in life, so that it is absolutely essential to make sure that what you want is in alignment with the way you breathe. So that's map number 1. Map number 2 is, like I said, it's anticipating what might go wrong. It's kind of a negative map. The other map is pretty positive, like, hey, I want this, I want that, I don't want this, I don't want that. You know, it's a dreaming thing. But the left brain wants to also, it wants some of your attention too. Because remember, your inner brain, you got an inner brain, a middle brain, an outer brain. Your outer brain is where your cortex is, and this is what makes you human and not an animal. Is that cortex of yours? But the internal part, the inner brain, the amygdala is what they call it. Amygdala. That amygdala is, according to maybe an environmentalist, or people who believe that man started billions of years ago and was I don't personally believe that, but some people say that would be your primitive brain. Your primitive brain is the inner brain. It's your amygdala. And what is it for? What does the amygdala do? It's trying to notice fight or flight. Should I fight to get what I want, or should I run away? And it's a fear-based part of your brain. And that amygdala wants to notice what's going on. And sometimes when you create your dream and you're envisioning your dream and you're trying to imagine how good you want it, there's a part of your brain it's not going to be happy until you take one more step, and that's say, just in case something goes wrong. So to make the amygdala happy, that inner brain of yours, you're going to say, okay, we're going to give you some time. We're going to imagine what might go wrong. And most people never take it that far in their goal setting. They only take their goal setting what they want, but they never take time to go, what might go on? What would I need? What would happen if I needed to do plan B? Because most entrepreneurs rarely do plan B. And that's why most entrepreneurs fail. They fail. Sometimes, as somebody said to, or at least I read somewhere a long time ago, and I can't remember who said it, but the average entrepreneur fails like 9 times. Why do they keep failing? It's because that amygdala part, maybe it's been kind of shut down in an entrepreneur. All they can see is what they want and not what might happen to make it go wrong. Now, entrepreneurs don't have a very well developed amygdala. I'm making this up. I don't know if this is scientifically true, but I'm gonna say what I think. That an entrepreneur doesn't communicate very well with that amygdala to say what could go wrong. But an attorney is just the exact opposite. Their amygdala is like totally inflamed. Like they everywhere they look, something's going to go wrong. Like if you did this, that would go wrong. And so that's why attorneys are deal killers, because they see what could go wrong. And entrepreneurs, that's why they hate attorneys, because attorneys are so negative all the time. You know, they're always saying this could go wrong, that could go wrong. Maybe you're married to somebody like that, where one of you is an entrepreneur and the other person is an employee-minded person, a little more security-oriented. What I'm asking you to do is to do both. I want you to dream it and make your dreams really clear. And then on the other side, throw a bone to your amygdala and say, you know, this could go wrong. There's some things that could happen. And in a sense, if they do, what's plan B? Now, if you just add that second map, that's why that second map is so important. If you add that piece, then more than likely you won't venture on some opportunities that you might do without thinking too much about it. Sometimes we just leap and then we create a parachute on the way down, right? And that's one of the skills of an entrepreneur. They're not afraid to jump. You see them all over the place. They're jumping all the time. And they're failing most of the time until they finally learn their lesson and finally step back a little bit and think a little. So this second map is called the anticipation map, meaning what could go wrong. So at least we know where we are. Here's where we are today. This is where we want to go 5 years from now. And every one of you can draw these maps. So draw them right now. Take out a blank piece of paper and a pencil. Something magic happens when you physically draw it, not just imagining it, but physically draw these little maps. Okay? So this one is the frowny face, and some people might say, I'm never frowny, and I'm a positive person all the time. But aren't there things in your life that you would like to change or like to improve somehow? You know, well, I know I'm grateful for every moment I breathe. And I really, if that's the case, you're probably not goal-oriented. If you're just happy with everything and the way it is now, if you're not driven, you're not an entrepreneur. Most entrepreneurs are driven. They want to accomplish things. They want to do things. They're anxious to jump off a cliff somewhere. You know, let's go do something. You know, let's not think about it. Let's just get it started. So that's why America is one of the most entrepreneurial nations, is because we have people who like to jump, like to leap. It's just part of our heritage. But at the same time, if you don't have a dream, a goal, something that drives you, more than likely, well, if you don't have a dream, you're not going to get it. You say, well, I don't have a dream. Well, obviously, whatever you imagine, if you imagine you're happy with the way you are now, fine. Okay, good. I'm not happy. And entrepreneurs are not happy. That's why I'm saying that I'm happy. I'm blessed. I'm grateful, and all of that. And I want more. And I want to push for it. And so I don't know if that resonates with you, but that's the kind of the way I am. That's why I never give up. And I'm always looking for something else to do and some other project to launch and some other dream to fulfill. It's just who I am. So getting you from here to this ideal lifestyle. This is how you draw a big smile. You draw that line right there, and it looks like you're laughing, you're smiling, you know. I usually draw the eyes that are really simple like that because I do a lot of seminars in Asia. So this is the way I would draw their maps. But the bottom line is it just shows you that there's an eye. There's an eye there, right? Okay, so the anticipation map is saying, what could slow me down? What could stop me? And the one thing for almost everybody is what I call the whirlwind. So you're going to draw a whirlwind. And this is how you do it. That was really hard, wasn't it? In other words, it's imagining that you are in a whirlwind every day. Hold on a second. Hey, Tom, I'm on my Successful People call. I'm here. Everybody's here. Look at your emails. The emails set a different link. Yep, sorry about that. Okay, so tell those 36 people that we had a glitch and we got a new link. So let me give you the, I will, okay. All right, I'm gonna put it into your chat right now. Thanks, Tom. I'll put it into your chat right now, into your text. Excuse me, everybody. So because we changed the link, everybody was going to the other link. We got 36 people waiting over at the other place. So give me a second and let me get the link and send it to Tom. What's happening right now is exactly what I'm talking about. You know, this is the challenges that go on from time to time. So there we go. So I just emailed to my old business partner, Tom Painter. So we have 34 people on this call right now, and I thought it was a little light. That's because there's 35 people waiting over on the other Zoom link. So back to where we left off. This is anticipation. So how could I have anticipated that there might have been a challenge like this when we changed the Zoom link? It happened. So rather than me being flustered and beating myself up and saying how woe is me and what a stupid thing we didn't communicate, I say to myself, let's just fix it. You know, and so Tom called and I sent him the link and that was done. The whirlwind is all the millions of little things you do every single day to make up a life. And so we all have lives where we have people who are in our lives. We have our health issues. We've got our time management issues. We've got our jobs or our businesses that we've got to run. We've just got a million things every day. And somebody says to me, you know, how can I possibly fit another hour into my day? You know, Bob, you're having these successful people calls and I'm too busy. I can't do it. And the question is, you're too busy doing what? How busy are you? Do you have enough time in your life to be able to take a moment or a day if you need to and deal with an emergency? Are you so busy like every single second of your life is planned? If you're too busy, it means that you're not managing your time. And a lot of people say they're just too busy, they got too much to do. And frankly, because they might be raising a family with 6 kids. And wow, what an overwhelm. What I'm going to challenge everybody to do is to make sure there is at least a time for you every day. And if you're just joining with us, by the way, yeah, we got 10 new people who just joined with us. There's John and Kanisha. Can you make sure they get admitted? I'm going to admit. Oh, there I go. So for those of you who are just joining with another 30 people are showing up. It's every day you have to say to yourself, my dream is important. It's so important today to my every single day that every day I'm going to take a step up the mountain towards that dream no matter what. And most people will get caught up in the thick of thin things. That means lots of little things, and that's the whirlwind. Lots of things. Come on in, everybody. Thank you, Rashid. We just added a whole bunch more, a couple dozen more people. Welcome, forgive us everybody, because we had a technical glitch and we had to change our link this week. And next week we'll probably go back to the other link, but just look at your email. When you get an email to remind you, the correct link will be in that email. So for next time, that'll let y'all know. Hi, Elle. There we go. So if you have too much to do, what if you looked at your to-do list and said to yourself, what could I procrastinate here? What could I put off? And you've heard me teach this before, but I think it's the absolute truth when it comes to time management, that successful people and people who fail and are too busy doing little things to get anything big done, that they both have the same habit. They just do it oppositely. The most successful person you'll ever meet in your life is the best procrastinator. And people get shocked by that thought because they think, procrastination is bad. Oh no, procrastination is essential. Like every successful person you know is a good procrastinator. Why? Because they have two kinds of things they could do in their life. They can do the 20% that gives you 80% of your results. In other words, they can take a few things, 20%, a smaller portion. And if they do those few things, they get huge results. They get 80% of their results come from those few things. And that 80% of the things that they do will only generate 20% of their results. So people who fail, they procrastinate the important things for later, and they do the least important things now. Successful people just do it the exact opposite. They do the most important things now. Things that give you 80% of your results, gives you high leverage, because you do a few things and you get almost all of your results from those few things. Then let's do some more of those few things. And therefore, they do those things first, and they procrastinate everything else. So if you're too busy, you need to look at your to-do list today. In fact, you need to look at yesterday and notice the things that you did, well, they're on your to-do list, the things where you spent any amount of time, and ask yourself the question, was that an 80 or was that a 20? And you go down the list, you'll find out that most of the things you did yesterday were 80s. That means they generate very few results. You would probably not even notice if you had not done them at all, if you had actually procrastinated them until today or tomorrow or the next day. So the whirlwind is where you decide what must get done today. And if you read all the way through the 4MAPS book, map number 4 is about task. And that means, what do I do today? And you'll go in more into the conversation of what I just talked about, that you do fewer things. And you're excited about that. And you say no to most things. So today, when was your most important time? When did you delegate? Well, those of you here on the call with us today, more than likely you said, well, I want to be on that call with Bob. And so for you, it was an important investment of your time. And you say, hopefully Bob will show me some ideas and some techniques and strategies so that the dream that I have, and this is the dream right here, I'm pointing you to this dream right here. If this is your dream, tell me what it is. Get specific about it. My job is to help you get this. That's the reason we spend this time together every week. I want you here. I don't want you, I'm trying to do my, I don't want you there. I want you here. This is where I want you. I want you to win. I want you to succeed. That's so every day. If you just do one simple thing, and that is just to do those most important things first. Say, I'll get everything else done today, but I'm just going to do those first things first. I call it your feared things first, because usually the things that are most important usually cause you fear. Why? Because you're afraid to fail at the most important things. So you actually go do the least important things where the probability of failure is really low. And if you fail at those least important things, it doesn't matter. And you don't get egg on your face. And you don't lose you don't lose any friends over it. It's just but if you do something really important and you fail at that, ooh, yeah, that's scary. And therefore it's what I call the feared things first, FTF. So do those things first, every day. Just before you start your day out, what are the most important things I got to get done today? Look down your list. I'm afraid of doing that one, so do that one first. And get in the habit of looking for the most fearful thing to get started with. And I have the same experiences all of you do have. There are some things I want to keep procrastinating, those big things. I still get caught up in that too, until I finally have to catch myself. Why did I put that off? Oh, because maybe I didn't feel I was ready yet. Maybe I felt I wasn't committed enough to really commit to it yet. Maybe I felt like I had too much on my plate, so I got to go look at my plate and say, okay, I got to knock these things off my plate. So I've got enough time for me to make sure this commitment happens. So just one of the big things you anticipate is just your daily life. And then you have to carve out of your daily life some time. Out of your busy life, how much time? Can you give me half an hour? Can you give me an hour? If you were just focused on that one thing for 1 hour, you could get so much done. But if you keep procrastinating it, you're actually building up the guilt about it. Eventually, you be so guilty, you just quit. You know, I'd rather you did something and failed at it. At least you took a step. So the first of the big challenges, obstacles, is going to be the daily, just your daily grind. And then you know, your climb up the mountain is very rarely like that. You know, like, oh, we'll just go to the top. No, it's usually like that. And this is what we call the learning curve. And if you're learning a new thing, and we're always learning new things, if you're learning a new thing and you have to go through the learning curve, which means you slow down, you look a little foolish in front of people, you make some mistakes because you're not good at that yet. And some of you are just starting in the entrepreneur game. So you go, oh, what business should I start? I've never done this before. Well, get ready for the learning curve because it's going to hit you big time. And the real question is, are you going to fail through the learning curve or are you going to fail out of the learning curve? And people who fail out, they end up with a life they're not very happy with because they failed at another thing. And eventually their self-esteem starts to really suffer. So you have to be willing to go through the bottom, that valley of failure until you go through it. Now, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time going on the other three things. I'm going to spend the time on the last one. The third one is the marshmallow. That means all those little sweets that you want to stop and distract yourself with. And the final one is the cliff. You know, before you get to the top, you're gonna face a cliff of fear. Everybody does. So sometimes your cliff is at the very beginning of the journey. Sometimes it's at the end. But sooner or later, something is going to be so terrifying to you that you will be willing. You may want to quit. And then the final one is the sudden storm. The sudden storm, where it's totally not of your planning. It was out of your plan. You hadn't thought about it. You hadn't anticipated it. It's just something that was out of the blue, just took you by surprise, right? And sometimes if people don't anticipate these sudden storms, then they get caught off guard and they get blindsided.
Sure.
And they go, oh my gosh, how unlucky can you be? This is just terrible. And you start to beat yourself up about some of the challenge. Maybe you realize it was some of your fault and you had some of the blame. The sudden storm just caught you off guard and just blew you off the mountain. And it happens. And it happens to every one of us. And the question is, what's plan B? What happens if you have a sudden storm that really knocks you back down to the beginning of the mountain and you got to start all over again? So it happens.
And what do I do?
So it's certainly happened to me in my lifetime. And I want to ask you if that would happen to you, what would you do?
No.
How would you deal with it? You know? I'm going to mute everybody here for a second, a little noise in the background. So yesterday, we bought a brand new home 10 days ago. Beautiful home. It needs a lot of fix up. It's just not the way we would have wanted. We had a design, we got to put a new kitchen in, a new master bath, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be a couple more months before we're into it. But we go to our home yesterday. It's like 2:30, 2:40 before we get to the house. There's nobody there. The house is locked. They've ripped out the basement, all the carpets. You know, we're choosing paint to paint on our walls to see if this paint color is going to match the carpet we've selected. And so it's a real positive thing. It's like we're on our dream, we're moving into our dream home. Of course, we have had a dream home in California, which we sold, and it was magnificent, beautiful. It was our, what they call it, our bucket list house. Been there, had a bucket list house. Now we couldn't come down just a little bit. There's just the two of us. Beautiful home on a golf course, gorgeous, beautiful neighborhood. Neighbors are just unbelievable. We opened up the hatch to our nice new Mercedes, and we go inside to do a little checking, and we left the back hatch up because we're taking things in and out. So why would we close the hatch in front of in the driveway of our own house and lock the door of the car and then go inside? Is that the way you normally do it? No, it's a very safe neighborhood. No, we're going to leave the car sitting in our driveway open, and the keys are in it. Oh, yeah. Well, the neighbor comes across the street when the incident happened, and he said, I've lived here for 18 years. We built that house across the street. This has never happened in this neighborhood, ever. But I came out to bring a box of things out of the house, to bring it into the car, so we're leaving to go back home, and the car's not there. What? Car is not there. Uh-oh. What am I thinking? I'm thinking sudden storm. I'm ready for it. I'm good. Well, how do I deal with it? Let's instead of commiserating and beating ourselves up, let's just go get it. So I walked out in the street where seeing maybe somehow some kids had taken it and driven down the street and parked it. And a policeman shows up, literally within 2 minutes of me walking out that door. And the police says, can I help you? And I said, our car was just stolen. And he said, well, that's why I'm here. We're looking for someone who stole another car, who left it on the side of the highway up a few blocks away. And he's been running through the neighborhoods, and we're looking for him. And now we know that he's stolen your car. So at least they know what they're looking for. And then we gave them the license plate number and the description and everything. And then I go into my app. Mercedes has an app where I can literally push the button on my app and I can see exactly where my car is. I can see it's like 3 miles away. I can see exactly what road is that, everything. It's just stopped and it's stationary. So that's either a good thing or a bad thing. It's a good thing that maybe they abandoned it. It's a bad thing that maybe something bad had happened. So the neighbor drove me to that spot 2 or 3 miles away, and there was our car in the middle of the road with lights and firemen and the whole drill. And this guy was a convict, and a paroled convict who had stolen another car because he had done some shoplifting in a store and got in a car, stole it. The police are after him. They chase him into our neighborhood. He escapes the one's car, comes through our neighborhood, sees my car there, jumps in. So guess what happens with a sudden storm? You know, I'm standing there. My wife had forgotten her cell phone that day, so I couldn't even call her. I had to have the neighbor give his phone. So finally, the long story short, the convict was eventually captured. He's in the hospital, and he's in the hospital because in escaping from the police, I must have turned back and looked and swerved into the side of the road and hit a car that was parked on the side of the road. And their car looked okay, but my car, it's pretty totaled. It's totaled. It's done. So I just went to the tow yard to let's see how I go like this one. Yeah, that's what we had to deal with today. Let me show you another picture of it. I don't know if you know a lot about cars, but I don't think, see the car, the wheel is like 90 degrees, the axle is broken. I think that's totaled. I think it's probably done. But if it's not done, then the insurance will fix it. And we'll drive a rental car for a couple of weeks and the emergency will be over. So now here's what you got to think positive about. So that's that was a horrible thing. I'm gonna pay my deductible. I'm gonna had to go clean the car out. I had to drive. I took the whole day, except for you. You're the only business-oriented thing I'm gonna do the entire day. The rest of the day is on the phone with Geico and the towing yard and everybody else. It ruined my entire day. Ruined my entire day. So, but I had plans for today. I had things I wanted to get done. But let's see, how do I point over my, there we go. That sudden storm happened. Sudden storm happens. And sometimes it's worse than that. Sometimes it's like a month and a half ago, I woke up and there was ringing in my ears. Well, how did that happen? It's gonna drive me nuts. I got to go to doctor after doctor after doctor after doctor. Sudden storm, I'm getting older. How do I fix it? Tinnitus, as they call it, or tinnitus. Hey, it's ringing in my ears right now as I'm talking to you. Doesn't seem to bother me much anymore. I've kind of just resigned myself to the fact that this is probably the way it's going to be for the rest of the duration. So get used to it. Sudden storms, they just take you by surprise all the time. The question is, will they stop you? They might slow you down. When you're clear on what your dream is, then every day you march up that mountain every single day. Now let's look at the car crash. What might we find out 100 years from now when I'm no longer here? And I get a review of what might have happened. Was the car crash, having the car stolen and totaled, a brand new, beautiful Mercedes, totaled. What might have happened? How could I be grateful about this and not sad and devastated? It's a different way of anticipating things. So when the bad things happen, you've got to ask yourself the question, well, what could have happened? Well, perhaps if I'd come out of the house 5 minutes earlier, I would have run into that convict. And it could have been a totally different outcome. My wife would have had a sudden storm of losing her husband that day, right? You start to anticipate what is the miracle surrounding every sudden storm? Because it depends on your belief system, but my belief system is somewhere there's a miracle in here somewhere. Okay, it might be somebody I meet as a result of this. So I've met this chief of police of Highland, Utah. So I know his name. He drove me back home. I've met the detective. I've met the Joe, who is the tow guy. Joe, and he was so nice today. He was just unbelievably nice. Just wow! I made 5 or 6 really great friends as a result of this terrible sudden storm. Thank heaven I had insurance, but still, it's such a hassle. How do you get paid back for this day that's wasted? And I had to go rent another car, and then we had to move everything from the damaged car to the new one, and yada. You've all had, probably every one of you's had an experience like that. What I'm going to ask you to use your imagination by is I want you to imagine what might have taken place. Maybe if that car had not been stolen. Imagine that. Now, remember, I'm going to be very positive in my thinking here. So rather than thinking of the worst case scenario, which is the way fears are designed, I want to think of the best case scenario. So maybe because the car was stolen, I wasn't in that car. If my wife had left 10 minutes earlier, we would be in that car driving home. What if there was an accident that was somewhere in the future that we weren't anticipating, and that if we had been caught at that right moment in the car at the wrong moment, maybe the results or the outcome would have been far, far worse. Maybe it was actually an absolute miracle that our car was stolen. Now, I won't know the answer to that for another 40 or 50 years. And I really don't know if in the future life, if we're given a chance to notice all of the angels that were around every single moment of our life. There's a Jewish saying that I absolutely love. It says, above every flower, there is an angel saying to that flower, grow, grow. And so every flower in your life, or every moment in your life, what if there were angels above you that were saying, grow? And the way you grow is you learn. And when you learn, then you can grow even more. What if the past failures of your life you haven't grown from, you haven't learned from, what if they're slowing you down even today? What if you learn from them so that your life got better? See, as soon as you learn from your past mistakes or your challenges or your sudden storms of all the times when you've lost and failed and made a fool of yourself, what if ultimately everything that happens in your life makes you grow? Ultimately, sooner or later, everything is about your growth. Everything that happens had happened in your past. Everything you caused to happen in your life, or everything that was happened to you in your life. What if every moment was designed? I'm not saying that you would that you are predetermined or predestined. I don't have that belief. I believe we have the opportunity to decide, and when we decide, we are responsible for those decisions, and ultimately we'll see that. The bottom line, though, is what if every moment, good and bad, was ultimately designed to make your life better, to make your life turn out better, turn out to be. So I have to ask myself that question. Rather than beating myself up, I have to go, I wonder what the miracle in this is. I wonder what we avoided. Or I wonder what benefit will come from this waste of my day today. Total, complete, didn't accomplish a thing today except to talk to you. But what if that thing that I thought was a total worthless waste of time, money, effort, everything was ultimately turns out to be a miracle? It's a hard way to think of it because more than likely, it just happened. It just happened. That's life. Life just happens. More than likely, it is going to waste a day of my life. But what if my thinking was, where's the miracle in this? How would that cause me to look at everything that happens in my life? Maybe a few times out of the 10 disasters that happen in your life, maybe not every one of them was destined to be the great learning experience of your life, but what if a few of them were absolutely essential for you to go to the next stage in your life? You don't know which of those disasters that might be. So because of that, you have to look at all of them the same way, because you never know which of those 10 disasters was the miracle. And I don't recognize the miracle now. But maybe one day I'll be shown the big picture. The big picture is you all by yourself, going about your daily activities and seeing a host of invisible beings cheering you on and saying, grow, grow. And they can't do much. Sometimes they can just be there to kind of whisper support. Sometimes you don't hear it at all. Sometimes you sense it. Like when I had my car accident in 2003 that almost killed me, I sensed my mother. I sensed her there. I was in the hospital, almost dead. And she died the day I was born, so I never knew her, but I sensed her there. I don't know how it works, frankly, if there are these invisible beings or not. I believe there are, but I have no proof for it. All I can say is I believe that the accident that happened yesterday, that the stolen vehicle and the accident that totaled our beautiful car, maybe put it into a different car that would be slightly, that would see all of it's a Rubik's Cube. And the universe, was spelled with a capital U, the universe sees this unbelievably complicated Rubik's Cube of life and knows how, in billions of ways, this billion piece Rubik's Cube, how everybody's life, if they're open to it, they can learn. And opportunities come into your life, and sometimes they show up and you go, I can't even believe it. This is amazing. This is incredible. How blessed could I be? And then there are times when it's, oh, this is terrible. This is horrible. How cursed could I be? And I'm just asking you to say, everything that happens has a reason. It has a learning curve in it. And some of us, we're right here on the learning curve of life. We're still trying to figure out the rules, you know. As Ashley Brilliant said, life is the only game where the object of the game is to learn the rules. So some of us we're still down here learning the rules. How come God didn't just give us a playbook, a book of all the rules? Well, depending upon your belief system, he did. But the bottom line is, why is it more clear? It's written in language from the 16th century. You know, why can't it be more clear? Like, do this and don't do that. Well, yeah, it's pretty clear in that good book, isn't it? And most people don't read that because they don't believe it's relevant today. Zig Ziglar, a buddy who's no longer with us, he said, if all the Christians in the world were to simultaneously blow the dust off their Bibles, it would create a dust cloud that would blot out the sun for 30 days. So in life, we either have to read the rules or we have to discover them by ourselves. So that's what the learning curve of life is about, is coming into this life, maybe being raised by parents who had no rules at all, or the rules that they did have were the rules that were the opposite of a good life. Maybe we were raised that way. How could God let that happen? For them to be born, this beautiful, priceless, sinless, an innocent child be born into that family. How could that possibly be? And the only answer I could come from it is that everyone's experience on this planet is to help them grow, no matter what it is. And if we look at whatever the challenges were, one day we'll get to see the big picture of what was really happening all around us in invisible ways that we were totally, completely unaware of, and maybe would have violently opposed even the thought of at that time. And when we see the ultimate big picture, and I think most all of us will go, thank heaven for that. Wow. So yesterday, I'm still in this grumpy phase, like, but I'm moving more quickly to where's the miracle in this? Because if it turns out there's a miracle in it, would I let that happen? If I knew what was going to happen in advance, and I knew the guy was going to steal my car, and I knew as a result of that, the car would be totaled, and then I would have to go into this totally different path that I was forced into, and that it ultimately turned out to be for my good. Would I have wanted, if I'd had the power to, driven off that car 10 minutes early and not have him steal it? Well, since we don't know the future, God doesn't let us see it. We have to play in the game of faith. And what faith means evident. Faith means acting with the evidence. Sorry, I'll say that again. Acting in the presence of bad evidence is taking a leap of faith when everything doesn't look good, but actually looks bad, and still being willing to leap. That's faith. So I don't know what will happen as a result of this car accident, this theft. I just have to assume, well, one of these days, I'll see that it was either a totally meaningless thing in my life, and it really was a worthless experience, or it'll be one of those rare 1 in 10, 2 in 10, 3 in 10 experiences where, oh my gosh, thank you. And when I had my car accident in 2003, that's what I say. I still have a badly bruised wrist. My back still hurts. The scar on my forehead right there, still there. I thank God for that accident. Thank you. I woke up in the hospital. Thank you. Today, driving down to get the things out of the destroyed car, I'm whispering under my breath, thank you. One day we'll say that. Thank you for the opportunity to be here on this planet at this time in this country, where 2/3 of the people will never drive a car, be in a house, eat food like we eat, maybe 3/4 of the planet. So anyway, I'm now gone beyond the point. Point is, I wish you well today. I wish that the anticipation of the challenges that will happen to you today will be good, ultimately for your good. And that's my message to you. I hope you'll do it. By the way, Elle, I think I responded to you. But Elle, just send it to connect@robertallen.com. I'm looking in the chat right now. Anybody who has a comment, a question, a thought, an aha. I'm a little, what shall I say, a little more thoughtful today because of this thing that happened. But
Robert, I have a good example of a miracle in this. My daughter, back when she was a teenager, this is Peggy, back when my daughter was a teenager with no family history of seizures or anything, one day when she was on her way back to college, she stopped to feed her dog one more time when she wasn't planning to.
yeah.
So it took 5 more minutes than she was planning. In that 5 minutes, all of a sudden we heard a strange sound in her room. She had fallen to the floor and was having a huge seizure. Never had a seizure before, no seizures in the family history. Because of that seizure, she was not on the freeway going 70 miles an hour. And the neurologist told us that had she had that seizure on the freeway, not only 100% would she be dead, but she would have taken quite a few other cars of people with her.
Oh my gosh.
It's only because she came back in the house and decided to feed that dog one more time.
Wow, great story, Peggy. You always add so much information and light to what we're talking about. Any other thoughts, comments, questions, experiences? You can unmute yourself if you want to. I'm looking over here in the chat. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. Life is good, or we wouldn't be here. Life is good.
Always profound life lessons, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you,
Hey,
Bob.
yeah, Ali. How you doing, Ali, my friend?
These are all miracles, Bob.
Scott.
As we understand, everything is a miracle. Everything is for good. Life changes dramatically, forever.
Thank you. It's true. It's true. So now,
We're so
I'm
grateful
going to look
to you,
at
Bob.
Thank you. I look forward to chatting with you so much every week. What am I going to say? What will I say to make your investment time worth it for you? And thank you again. I'm
Bob?
this time at 3 p.m. Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to thank you. My name is Eric Easton. I wanted to thank you for all your help and leadership in sharing the stories of your success and the way that you've gone through to succeed at those different items. I have 2 of your programs that are helping me a lot. I do find myself wondering, like on your multiple stream of income, if there was a different website you changed to afterwards, because that one doesn't seem to pull up anymore.
It doesn't, and all that's being refreshed, by the way. So just send me an email at connect@robertallen.com, and when the new website is launched, I'll send it to you so you can download all those gifts that we talk about, okay? The book was
Thank you
written
very
20 years
much,
ago,
sir.
so the emails have changed and some of the websites have changed. Okay? Any
Yes,
other
sir, thank you.
comments, thoughts? Ephraim, are you still, where are you living, Ephraim? Are you were in Tijuana at one time, were you not?
Yes, I'm in Tijuana.
Are you still in Tijuana?
Yes, yes.
Oh, Ephraim. Yes. So happy to see you.
Thank
He's
you.
been to my home in California. You came to my house, right, Ephraim?
Yes, yes,
Rancho Santa Fe.
yes.
So when I see you, I think, oh, there's my friend. Very good. Lawrence, what's going on? You got the Golden Gate in the background. What's happening, brother?
Thank you so much. We missed you on yesterday. We definitely had you in our prayers for today, so it was good to see you. And you know, the stories that spin out of the processes that we go through are life changing. So definitely, it's something that keeps us going. So thank you so much for your stories and your leadership.
Thank you, Lawrence. Where do you live in San Francisco?
Oakland.
Oh, my wife was raised in Oakland.
I know, you told me. Did she come out of McClymonds or Castlemont? McClymonds High School?
She came out of
Or Tech?
Oak something, I thought.
Oakland Tech, Oakland Technical.
No, it was at the top of the mountain up there. The kind of.
Oh, I know
Skyline?
Bishop O'Dowd.
That was where her brother went. Her brother went to that school. Is it called Skyline or something like that?
Skyline. Okay, so Skyline is on Skyline Boulevard. So
Yeah,
she went to
that's-
Skyline. Wow. I teach at Merritt down the street from Merritt College, down the street from Skyline
Cool.
High School. Yeah, I teach at that
I
college.
love Oakland. Oakland is one of my favorite cities because that's where when I went to ask my mother-in-law for the hand of my
Wow.
wife, I had to go to Oakland. We took her out to a meal in Oakland. And the only question I ever remember her asking me, I said to her, she said, what are you going to do with your life? So I'm going to be a millionaire. Of course, at this time, I didn't have any money. So I said, I'm going to be a millionaire. And she went and told my wife, she said, this is a crazy kid you're marrying. I don't know. Are you really sure about this? But Leah, her name is Leah, and I think we made the right choice. We've been married for 43 years now, so we're going to fight it out to the bitter end.
Yeah, that's good enough. Well, definitely, again, thank you so much for your accessibility and your tutelage. It helps me out quite a bit.
Excellent, Lawrence. Any other thoughts, comments, questions for anybody? I'm going to leave it.
Hey, Robert,
Yeah?
I took your advice last week and I reread your book, Successful People. And
Yeah.
I've been keeping the 4 maps every day since last week. And I intend to do so for the next 30 days. So at least. And I find it really, really, really helpful.
Then email me when you've finished it and you've gone through the first 30 days and say, tell me how that transformed the way your brain works and how you see the future. Just tell me.
That would be great.
Now, 30 days from now, okay?
Okay,
right.
I will do.
And Nikki interviewed me the other day on her program, on her little podcast.
I did. It was so much fun, Bob. Thank you again. I had so much fun.
Well, you're awesome, Nikki. Yeah.
I'm going to share something with you after the call. I'm going to send you an email. I have, yeah, I'll email you.
Looking forward to it. Okay, everybody, next week we'll resume our conversation, Successful People. Invite people to come. Tell them that it's free. There's no money involved here. Now, some of you might be looking for a side hustle. So next Tuesday night, I'm going to bring you one of the smartest internet marketers on the planet. And he and I are going to share with you how you make money on the internet. and how an author, all of you, let me ask you, how many of you want to be authors at one time or another? How many of you have ever wanted to be an author? Go into the chat and type yes or no into it. It's okay whether it's yes or no, but I want to see. Go into the chat. How many of you want to be an author one of these days? Type into the chat. I want to see it. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, yes. Okay, good. Most people will say yes to that. In fact, the New York Times said it's 81% of the people have a book in them, and very few people will ever get it out. So I want to give you next Thursday, I'm going to give you, or next Tuesday at 6 p.m. my time. So that's 5 p.m. Pacific time. You're going to receive an email that will invite you to come to this event. Come, because I'm going to give you 2 books. I'm going to give you my latest book, which is Idea to Income, 8 steps to achieve financial freedom. And I'm going to give that to you for just being on that call. It's not been released yet into the public. We'll be posting it on Amazon probably within the next month, but you'll be the first people who get a copy of this. And I'm also going to give you a copy of 12 stupid mistakes that beginning authors make. And you'll look through these 12 stupid mistakes. And when you read that article, it's a PDF about 15 pages long. You'll realize, if you are an author, you'll realize how many of those mistakes you've already made in writing your book. If you are not an author, then, and you don't read this, you're going to make these mistakes if you don't fix these 12 mistakes before you write your book. So these are totally gifts to you. I'm happy to share them with these group of people on what I call successful people. Be there next Tuesday. Just watch it, announce it, and show up. It'll be live. Won't be Memorex. You'll be able to ask questions of myself and my genius internet marketing partner, and we'll be able to answer your questions about some of the books you want to write. 2 of those gifts are going to come next week, so don't miss it. You'll love it. In the meantime, my best to all of you.
Bob,
Yes.
is your Infopreneur chapter, is that still relevant to what's going on in the internet world now?
Are you talking about, which book are you referring to?
Multiple streams of income.
Could be multiple streams of income. Yeah, well, there are 2 of the multiple streams books. One was called Multiple Streams of Income. That's this one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. You got infopreneuring and oh, that's it.
Well, this
Yes.
one is multiple streams of internet income. And this one is the principles are still true, but a lot of details have changed. And a lot of the websites don't exist any longer. But the first 5 chapters of this book going on in the background there. So I'm gonna, when you read the Idea to Income book, there are some other gifts in that book, and one of them is going to be 5 chapters of this book.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Exactly.
Excellent.
How do you set up how you make $100,000 in one day? And so this book teaches that, but now I'll bring it up to speed for you. And in other words, in these 2 bonuses that you're going to get for that call next day at 6, you're going to have lots of other free gifts that come with it. Total valuable, great stuff. You'll absolutely love it. So I'll see you then, Lawrence.
Thank you so much, Bob.
I hate to leave these beautiful smiley faces, but I gotta run. You know why I gotta run? Because
love you, Bob. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm so happy you're safe.
I left my wife's sunglasses, her prescription sunglasses, in the car. So sudden storm, that means I have to go back to the car and get the sunglasses. So is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Is that a miracle or is that a old dog on it? No.
Miracles. It's a good thing because you'll make her happy.
Oh, you're happy. There's no doubt about it. All right. God bless you all. See ya. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.